Good evening, Blues. Welcome to the latest instalment of Eyup, the Toffees podcast, made in Yorkshire. As always, me, Tris, I'm going to be joined by my fantastic Blue co-hosts in Dom and Wayne. How are we doing, boys? We all right?
Good evening, everybody. Good evening.
Seems like ages, doesn't it?
It does seem like a while. Them international breaks.
International breaks, yeah, they are.
Waste of time. Absolute waste of time.
Are we all stretched up and ready? You know, when it's been a while, you've got to stretch properly, haven't you? And make sure you're all good and ready to go.
I think so.
So busy. Thing is, though, during international break, you spend most of it falling asleep, don't you? Like, so them San Marino, like, I genuinely, them San Marino players, I've seen better football. Like when you're driving past, like local Sunday League stuff, and yeah, it's amazing how they play an international standard.
And you would argue the same over Luxembourg, but I tell you what, they're a team on the up now, aren't they? They're a country on the up.
I know.
What a result.
Beat the Republic and drew against Cyprus, didn't they? Won a piece.
I'll tell you why it's funny how Republic of Ireland, they're absolutely on a landslide, aren't they? They're having a shocker. Because I remember when I were a kid, they had a really good side. They're all top Premier League players now. They're just
when we were kids, Dom, they had the thing called the English Invasion, where they extended the lineage to the grandparents. So you had people like Andy Townsend playing for them and Tony Cascarino. There was some right players. It was the guy from Scotland who played for him. Steve Staunton or Ronnie Whelan, one of the two. One of them was Scottish, and he ended up playing for him as well. Everybody from the British Isles basically all joined the Republic who couldn't get at the England team, and they did well. They took it to Italia,
affectionately known as the England B team.
Yeah, they were. They give us a run for his money in the group match, didn't they? In Italia, right? In fact, Sheedy scored their equalising goal actually.
There you go.
Yeah,
absolutely. So, boys, shall we crack straight on with our usual sort of analysis of the last game there? So, I'm pretty sure we were all a bit super pissed off after that. Luckily, it wasn't a Friday or a Saturday game. With it being a bank holiday, they didn't ruin the entire weekend, which I think it would have been for most people. So, what were your thoughts, boys, on that? Well, disappointing result.
Go on, Dominic, you first.
Well,
got a Sunday name there as well, Dominic.
I know. Well, in my opinion, I just thought, how many chances do we need to put a game to bed? Like, I couldn't believe. Like, we could have been 5 up at half time, and then we get the goal. Rodriguez, what a finish, by the way! That was a world class finish.
Unbelievable.
And then Calvert-Lewin's through, and all he has to do is put it to either side of the keeper, and he decides to put it through the keeper, and it's just like frustrating, but it is what it is.
Richarlison were guilty of the same as well. He headed one. He had a free header on goal, and he missed it. Headed it over, didn't he?
He had a few. And
he had a couple. He had a couple. He had another one where he could have took it round the keeper as well.
Yeah, he could have actually had 5 in that game. He could have had 5, and he had 5 clear-cut chances and didn't manage to stick any of them away. He certainly left his shooting boots in the dressing room, I think.
And
on Monday.
I'll tell you what, defensively as well, I thought we were all right until the last 15 minutes, and I think they had a couple of chances late on, and you think something's happening, something's going to come here, something's going to give, and you just knew it were coming, didn't you? Because he had 2 or 3 chances, and yeah, it's frustrating because every time we've been in with a sniff, I don't want to say his asses have fall out, but I don't know what else to put it down to.
Oh, you're right. You are right.
It's like the players just freeze when it matters, and it's frustrating because I'm not expecting us to go off and win everything, but at least when it's there, we've got to take these opportunities. And
yeah, it's frustrating. Isn't it? I mean, for me, I don't think we played that bad on Monday overall. We just had lots of chances that we didn't put away, and then we let Crystal Palace back into the game when they'd not actually been in the game at any point up until then. And it were quite a lucky goal. Yeah, you could sort of say Olsen's positioning weren't the best. Defence in that moment wasn't great, but it's just such a disappointment because I thought when Hammers put that ball in the back of that net, and when you actually look at the sort of what he had to do when he struck that ball and that such a tight, how on earth he threaded it through there, I've got no idea. And that's exactly what he's capable of bringing to it. And when that goal went in, I was like, yep, that's it. It's that finally got that breakthrough. And then we just did an Everton, didn't we? I think Dom's right. Our asses fell out of it again. And we let a team into a game that weren't in it in the first place. We need to start finishing these games off and finishing teams off.
It's either carry on attacking or, fill the middle of the park. Don't sit back and just let teams... Because Palace got a foothold of the game and we went 1-0 up because we just decided just to give them the ball and say, all right, we'll just keep you out. And you can't win. You're not going to win games like that. You have to keep them guessing, don't you? You have to give them something to think about as well.
And then once they did actually equalise, we seemed to go up a gear in us performance. And we've seen that a lot this season. We concede, and that's when we finally start and actually play. Why are we not doing that all the time? I know we didn't really look like we were going to threaten after that point, but the energy went up to try and get back in front in that game. Why can we not maintain that for 90 minutes?
I don't know. We could have killed that off, couldn't we? You think like with that
it could have been chance, we could have been 7-0 up in first half.
Yeah, and
we could have. Unfortunately, DCL and Richarlison's shooting boots were still on international duty, weren't they? Unfortunately, so. I was disappointed with Richarlison, especially. I was especially disappointed with Richarlison. I mean, I think, like you said, Tris, overall, it's a better showing at home. It were a better showing from the lads at home, but we just didn't finish it off where it mattered. I thought Gomez played some brilliant balls through the middle. I thought Gomez were on his top form.
James had some
James, to say that James has been out for so long and maybe lacking a bit of match sharpness, I'll tell you what, he was on the ball. Absolutely on the ball. Yeah.
So within that game, there were obviously a few talking points, but what about that Richarlison, that free kick saga? What was all that about?
Do you want to go first on this one, Wayne?
It pissed me off, I'm not going to lie.
Do you know what? It reminds me, it's very reminiscent of that time when Morales did the same thing with the penalty.
Absolutely.
Do you remember? He took the ball off Baines, put the ball on the spot and missed the fucking thing. Do you remember?
It's just pure petulance. And for me, I get his drive and I love the fact that he wants to score and he wants to have that involvement and stuff. But that shit's all worked out beforehand. When
set
he
pieces are all, they worked out on the training ground, not on the pitch.
And for me, as well as the petulance, it shows a complete lack of respect for his teammates and also for the management team as well, because he's completely disobeyed what's been set out there. Yeah. But I'll tell you what pissed me off more than anything. Why the hell did Coleman not go over and sort it out? He was miles away. He didn't even bother. He should have gone over there and said, no, hang on a minute, Richie. Fuck off back into the front line. You're not supposed to be taking that free kick. Let the people...
1,000,000%. 1,000,000%.
That's the fundamental issue, lads. I think it comes down to lack of leadership. And I don't like saying that, but because I don't know what goes on in the dressing room, obviously. But for me, it's a fundamental lack of leadership. Because you're telling me, you imagine if anyone tried pulling that stunt when Roy Keane were captain of United, he'd have taken him off to the side and filled him in. He'd have done a canting arm.
And what gives Richarlison the right to think he can do that against Carlos wishes? Where's the boot in the face? Or, I hope he's taking him to one side afterwards and giving him a good bollocking for it.
You talk about Roy Keane. Imagine if somebody had done that when Big Dunk had the band on.
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean?
I say
people aren't revered or feared anymore or respected in that way anymore, are they? It seems to be every man for themselves in certain situations like that. And it's
just
life, when
the club needs to do something.
When that same thing happened with Morales, look what the manager did. Took him out next game. And literally made an example of him.
I'm fined him as well. I'm fined him. He got fined and dropped. Yeah.
I hope somewhere behind the scenes that is happening to Richarlison. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the bloke. His connection with the fans, what he does off the pitch, and what he does on the pitch when he's in form, and when he's on his game is fantastic. And he can be our best player by a mile.
And that celebration.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously, if he'd stuck that in top corner, we wouldn't be having this conversation, would we? But
no, it's all hypothetical, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm hoping Carlos taking him to one side and said, "You do that again, pal," and you'll be benched.
I think we'd still be having that discussion though, Tris, about even if he'd have stuck it in the top corner, we'd have still said on principle, he really shouldn't have done that. Yeah, all right, good on you for scoring, but the principle of the matter is you need to you stick to the game plan, don't you? And if you've got a game plan in your head and your manager tells you who's on free kicks and who's doing direct free kicks, etc. If he says for example, in a normal game, should they all be fit, you've got Gilfie and you've got James and you've got Dina. And then you see three people who are instructed to take free kicks, and it's between themselves. Then, if you notice, they all stand and they have a discussion, and they say, "Who wants to take it?" Right? I'll be the dummy man. You take it. That's perfect.
Yeah, I know. You could see all three of them trying to remonstrate with him and saying, "No, hang on a minute, no, you can't do this. We want the ball," and he just point blank refused. And that, to me, just shows a complete lack of respect, not only for the teammates but also for Carlo as well.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if Big Duncan had been in charge at that point? In those couple of games, and he did that at that point, it'd have whipped him off.
Him straight off. Yeah, exactly.
It'd have whipped him off. And does that mean that the players like Richarlison, they don't actually have that respect for Carlo? Is that, like Dom said, that lack of leadership? Does that channel up to the top in this, or is it just one of those isolated instances where he'd made so many bollocks up of clear-cut chances, he just wanted a chance to try and put it right?
I'd like to give him the benefit of the doubt on this one, but I think because you see it all over the Premier League now. I saw it with Lingard and Rice the other week over a penalty, and they were literally like two kids in the playground, and then Declan Rice as captain.
I was just going to say, we used to do that as kids. I'm taking that penalty. No, you're not. You'd snatch ball off each other, wouldn't you? Yeah, it was very reminiscent of playground, wasn't it?
Yeah, but like my ball, my penalty, and like you say, it's all a bit silly for me, and I appreciate that players, they want to put the best foot forward and they want to win for themselves and obviously the team they're involved in, because the better we do as a club, the better their careers are going to be. So yeah, I've got no issue with them wanting to be involved, but I don't know. It just doesn't look good, does it?
It doesn't, not at all.
It just doesn't look good for me, and
it certainly doesn't look good that our captain, that's supposed to be the person on field to actually sort that out, stood miles away and didn't even get involved, which I'm surprised about because he's quite vocalist, Coleman. So for him not to get involved in that, it's a little bit strange, but hey ho,
maybe he was still reeling about Luxembourg. I don't know.
Maybe.
And when you get a chance, lads, go and have a look at Roy Keane's interview after that Luxembourg. He said it exactly how it was. He said Ireland's full of League One players now, apart from Coleman. That's what he said.
Speaking of Roy Keane, did you see in the week that I forgot, was it BBC or Sky? One of them did the 10 hardest men in football, and who came out on top? Good old Big Dunk.
Number 9,
rightly so. Good.
No one's going to dispute that, are they? No one's going to dispute that.
Not at all. So just going back to the game and what sort of happened there then. So there is a big elephant in the room, obviously, with what's been going on this season. So the home form, what the fuck is going wrong and what is going on with our home form this season? Goodison used to be a fortress. This season, it's not. I know we spoke about this similar instance on previous sort of podcast episodes and stuff, and we know we're not the only team which is struggling at home this season. You can look just across the park at the Shite, and we've had plenty of laughs at their expense for their home form. As we've said multiple times, they've been battered that many times at home. It's domestic abuse, but the same's happening to us. And what do we do to change it? What's the issue? Any thoughts on it, boys? Because I'm at a loss.
Well, do you think that was the issue all along? Do you think that would be the issue all along for a lot of the clubs? Do you think it shows how much we actually relied on our home crowds getting behind us? Do you think that could be something to do
I
with
think
it?
the fact that our away support, has always been good as well. But our away form has actually been pretty good this season,
It's
where
been excellent.
it's been brilliant.
That's
Yeah,
kept us. That's kept us in a kind of a false position,
Stable
really,
position,
because
yeah.
you look at where we are in the league and you think, oh, we've been relatively consistent, whereas we haven't. All our points are away from home. When you look at, I think I can't even say statistically, but if you look at the facts, we're bottom three. I think we're relegation form at home, and then we're Champions League form away. If you could get some kind of nice balance, we'd be comfortably in the top, in the top four with the points we've thrown away at home. But I don't think it's a fans thing, because these are professional players. They're way more conditioned than that, are they, mentally, to worry about that. I can understand if you're taking it easy a bit and you've got thousands of Everton players telling you to get to keep going and stuff. I can understand the buzz, but I can't see it making as much of a difference as what we give it credit for, really. I don't know.
But what's the other answer to it then? Because we don't seem any different tactically at home. We don't seem to be any different. Kyler doesn't change things that much that for a home game. So
it's just something's not clicking, is there, with the match day?
Put your finger on.
The match day, whatever the route, it might be something in the routine, how they're preparing for home games now. I don't know if there's, how they go about the pre-match, something pre-match, has that changed? I don't know, but there's something gone wrong somewhere, hasn't there? There's some change to the routine somewhere has messed it up.
Yeah, I mean, there's been lots of discussion on various social media and things like that. And by the way, anybody watching, please do comment on the social media. So we've got the Facebook page, Facebook profile, there's YouTube, there's Twitter, there's also Instagram as well. So just look up Eyup the Toffees. So join the discussion live with us. Tell us what you think. But on social media, there has been a hell of a lot of talk about West Ham and Moyes and what he's done, getting them from 17th last season when he took over up to 4th in the Premier League table on just over 35 million quid. But there was a lot of talk about, sort of the support and things like that. You look at West Ham, especially since they moved into that new stadium, the Olympic Stadium, I guess they're really not, it doesn't make that much of a difference. You look at Goodison and the crowd are smack on top of you, and they know and they let you know when something's not right, but they also get behind you when it's going right as well. With West Ham, they've not had that same issue because their fans are so far away from the pitch that is that not causing an issue for them? But you look at, I hate to mention them, but the Shites, you look at them and they're having very similar issues at home, and their home support from the Kop, as we know, is always a really strong factor in, very similar to what ours is. It's a Liverpool thing.
I think some of it's got to be put on that. I don't very often disagree with Dom, because Dom speaks lots of sense and stuff like that. But I think I'm maybe not as much as I'm implying, Dom, but I think some of it has to be put on the fact that they haven't got the crowd to really keep them on the toes. Because if you don't put a shift in at Goodison Park, the crowd let you know straight away, don't they? They don't give you any
Is the fact the crowd isn't there in the away games taking away the intimidation that we've sometimes felt, that meant we've not had such great things? Is it having the opposite effect in away games because you've not got however many thousand of their fans cheering and getting on your back?
Yeah, I entirely believe that. And I think a lot of it is to do with the mentality, because your mentality changes when you're in a different environment and a different atmosphere, aren't you?
It does,
sure. Like when we watch games on television and they're behind closed doors, but they've got this thing called arena, aren't they, where they pump the sounds into the thing. But they don't have that when they play out on the pitch. They're just it's just like a training session.
Yeah,
you can hear everybody shouting, hear a
game, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It has that under 23s reserve feel to it, doesn't it? Whereas and I play with both settings. I have it arena or I prefer it arena because it makes it feel like it's a bit. But a couple of times I've gone on to the normal where you just take the arena off and you can hear it. You can hear every individual player shouting at each other for the ball and etc. You can hear the instructions coming across from the assistant managers and stuff like that. And I think it's a real side of football that we don't hear, isn't it? You never hear that if we got a full ground in. But
I just can't wait till we can all go back
it just feels different to watch, so God knows what it feels like to play in,
Yeah, I completely agree with that, Win. And I'm just trying to relate to it from like a sports person's point of view, because obviously they've had the same with the boxing, like behind closed doors, and some people have made some fighters have made an excuse for the performances dropping for it being behind closed doors. But for me, you're a professional sportsman. It shouldn't affect you. Like you go in, you fight. Whether I'm fighting in front of a couple of hundred at Donny Dome or fighting in my back garden, you go in with the same attitude. And I'm sure these players do go out with the same attitude. But like you say, when you're tired, your legs are aching. Maybe it is the Goodison fans that we're not giving us. I might not be giving our fans enough credit for how many games have seen us over the line with. So,
can I use another relatable example on this? Then this
I know what you're going to say.
Bit better. me and Tris, when we go out singing, sometimes we'll go and play to a full house. We'll feel absolutely amazing, and you tend to up your level of performance. It doesn't matter what. It's psychological. Is that it's all about the feeling and the atmosphere and the conditions that you're playing in. Now, if you're playing to 200-300 people, you think you're God, don't you? You're like this. If you then turn up to a working men's club that's struggling maybe, and they've got 2 people in, and you're going to only get 2 people in all night, you're flogging a dead horse because you're not even going to get one single clap at the end of it.
Yeah,
you go through. Yeah, exactly, and you just go through the motions, don't you, Tris? I'm not saying you lower your levels,
but automatically, you've actually said exactly what I was just going to say. I was just going to say the exact same thing.
Automatically, you don't want to give it the oomph that you would do in front of 100 people because you haven't got that adrenaline and you haven't got that atmosphere to live it to raise your performance to.
Yeah.
So you basically stay on a low level, don't you?
Definitely. Another good example, which I actually saw in the week, and obviously being a musician, professional musician and singer, and Wayne will be able to relate to this. I'm a huge Queen fan, always have been, Freddie Mercury and stuff. And I actually, it was on one of the Sky channels, their concert live in Montreal. And obviously, tens of thousands of people there, but you were watching the crowd, and I'm just looking at them, and they just weren't reacting in any way, shape, or form. We know what Freddie Mercury does with a crowd. Look at the Live Aid. He's just, he commands a crowd, and he's just an entertainer. But his performance on that show in Montreal was just subpar, subdued, because they weren't getting that reaction back from the crowd. And maybe we're seeing a very similar kind of thing with not having an audience in there. Good news. Hopefully, they will be starting to come back, though. But,
And then the counter argument could be had, Dom. I'm not a boxer, so I don't understand this, but I can sort of empathise a little bit with it. But when you're a boxer, whether you've got a crowd or not, you've got a game plan in your head, and you just switch all off that's going on outside you and stick to what you've got in your head to how you're going to box that match. Am I right, or do the crowd greatly influence what you do?
To be fair,
I don't know.
I can only speak from my personal experience, and I've never been influenced by the crowd obviously.
So that actually backs up what I'm saying. And in theory, I know what you're saying, and your argument is perfect. I do understand the professional sportsman, but we're human beings as well. And I think a lot of what gets in our heads is what goes on around us in a lot of sports, but maybe not in boxing. I think maybe a boxer's worst enemy is to listen to what's going on around him, because he loses his focus and his concentration. Then, doesn't he?
Yeah, or they try and.
Is that fair to say to a degree a little bit?
Yeah, or it can work. Some people need the crowd to feed off and the energy, the performance. Whereas with me, I just think as long as I can hear my corner telling me what I need to do, that's me. Whereas obviously everyone's different, but like I say, you can only relate it to your own mindset, can't you? And obviously, I'm sure every single player is different. Like you've seen, look how Calvert-Lewin's performances behind closed doors this season. He's been banging goals in for fun. Yeah. So. It hasn't negatively affected him. You've seen some players, the performance may not be as what you expect, and some players have gone to another level, haven't they, for us this year? And obviously,
Tom Davis has done well this season as well, and that's probably because people aren't getting on his back 24/7.
I was just about to say that.
But also, if you think about it, so many players from opposition teams have always said Goodison is a horrible place to come because the raw, the crowd are right there on top, and it's a really daunting place for a lot of players to come. So many, past greats have said going to Goodison was the place that they absolutely hated the most. Without the crowd in, is it leveling that playing field a little bit, because they're not as intimidated as well coming, so they're up in their game a little bit because we're not screaming the bollocks off and making the place bounce a little bit. But who knows? So. Just moving very swiftly on then from the home form, is what we've experienced sort of this season, is it good enough for us to get sort of Europe? Are we ready for it? Do we want it? And if we did get it, what would be the cost? If we didn't get it, what would be the cost to us as a club? What are your boys' thoughts on that? Because I've got a few.
Are you going first, pal? Or?
No, you go. You do this, mate.
Oh, well, do we? Are we ready? I'm not sure. Do we want it? Absolutely. I think if we get in Europe, I'm not bothered about. Like, I think the Thursday to Sunday will affect us massively because I think in terms of squad size we're not there. But I think if we get it, if we somehow pull off a Champions League spot, it's just I think that could be amazing because you have the influx of money, the brand itself grows. You have players wanting to come for. You can offer players so much more, can't you? But I don't think realistically. I don't think we're in a position where we can do the whole Thursday to Sunday thing and have a successful push at the league, like a good league campaign as well, plus all the cups. We're along. We've got a lot of building to go yet. I know it's easy to get ahead of ourselves and think, when with some performances you think, yeah, we're great, and then we get brought back down to earth, don't we? So I think we're in good hands with Carlo. I think we're in great hands, but we've still got a lot of building to do yet. But I would take it if it, I would take it.
That's fair. I'm a little bit more cautious than that. I don't think we're ready. I think the fans as a whole need to manage their expectations of how good we actually are, because we're not as good as people think we are, as other people think. I mean, I wish for us to be good, but we're not as good as what we should be under Carlo Ancelotti. We haven't got a good enough squad to compete in Europe and the league at the same time. We haven't got a big enough squad to do that. And I think we just need to manage our expectations. Agreed. And I think if we see out an 8th here, it gives us a chance in the window to rebuild. And with the lure, again, I mean, I know Dom says, and what Dom said is right about if you've got Champions League football, you instantly attract a higher crop of players and a better standard of talent. But that said, I think that a lot of people will come just solely because of the Ancelotti connection with Everton, and I think that with the promise that if he brings in top names, that they're going to be regular starters in the squad in the push for Europe. But he can't. Not this season. I just don't think this season's at all.
No, I think I'd sort of agree with that. I personally don't think we're ready. I think the cost to us right now to be in Europe, those additional games, certainly with the squad that we've got at the moment, and don't get me wrong, every Evertonian out there would love to be in Europe. We'd love to be having those games. Don't get me wrong, I would love it. Under lights.
I would love it. I would love it, and I dream of stuff like this. But thinking as a realist, I think we should really manage our expectations a lot better than we are doing, because a lot of people are hoping that we're going to push for top 4, and I think it'll be the cost of getting into Europe will far be the cost of getting a stable league position next season and bringing some good names in far outweighs getting into Europe, I think.
Yeah, we can't get into Europe and that be a detriment to our domestic campaigns, which obviously are our bread and butter. They've got to come first. And right now, if we were to actually go into Europe, I think that would really struggle. I think you said it, Wayne, that we don't have the strength in depth within the squad that we've got. It's not good enough. You only have to look at our bench on a weekly basis. You saw that sort of in the Man City game really, really clearly in the Cup. We bring on Iwobi, they bring on Kevin De Bruyne. And, it's just little things like that. We have to have, a set of players on that bench that are all capable of getting into that starting 11 for the right teams. And right now, we are a million miles away from being able to have that type of squad. Will it cost us in terms of if we don't get Europe, will we end up, losing the likes of Richie or not being able to attract other players? I'm not so sure. I think we'll still be able to attract some. I'd settle for Europa if I'm honest, rather than Champions League. I think Champions League we'd end up going into games probably getting battered, and then the confidence drops. And we've been in that situation before with Coleman, and it wasn't nice. And the confidence drops, then your league form drops as well. So.
And you say that, Trish. There were on TalkSport a couple of nights ago. They were talking about. I think it was Jason Cundy or Darren Bent who were talking about this on TalkSport, and they were asking the fans which do they prefer. Would you prefer to be a team that's struggling, getting battered every week in the Premier League, or would you prefer to drop down to the Championship where you're winning you win in majority of your games? And do you know what? And it ain't a shocking thing. I don't think a lot of the fans said we prefer to be in the Championship and watch our team playing consistently well instead of getting battered and demoralised every single week. A lot of them said that. I'm not saying about us
no.
dropping to the Championship, but I'm saying us lose the European inhibitions for a while and just concentrate on being a decent, solid Premier League team.
Yeah, I mean, I've got sort of like obviously coming from Sheffield, I've got mates who are Sheffield United fans, and nearly every single one of them has said that same thing this season.
They just want the trigger to be pulled, don't they?
They just want to get
quick.
down because they know that that's where they're going to play their better football and see if they can rebuild and bring it back up. So it's a very good point. That actually, it's
It's an interesting thought process, isn't it? Because I'm sure a lot of fans, like you look at. You look in the Championship and look at Norwich this year, like they're absolutely hammering teams, and it must be nice for the fans to sit back and watch a game where I think they won, were it 7-0 last night against Huddersfield, something.
Yeah, and they're 9 points clear or something at the top. They're running away with it, that's for sure.
And you think like it must be nice to watch, but for me, I don't know. I'm quite old school, and I would much rather be in the Premier League, because for me, being in the Premier League and competing, I know you're not going to win every game and you're going to get beat by better sides, but you're in the best league in the world, and but if you're a champion, if you're in the Championship at the top end of the Championship, you're still a Championship side to me. That don't carry as much, even if you win every week, you don't carry as much prestige as being a Premier League side. And
well, I have a friend, Dom, who's a Stoke City fan, and I've travelled to some of these Stoke games with him just as a friend, and I've been at 365 Stadium a few times, and I've seen him away from home as well, and I've seen him transition from a League One team, which they used to be, and then go when they had the Icelandic takeover in the 90s. I used to watch Stoke with him, not saying I'd given up my allegiance to the boys, but as a friend, you sometimes do, don't you? If your mate says, I'm going to watch this game, you go along with them and watch, and I've done a few times, and I understand where he comes from when he says, I'm glad that Stoke are playing at the reality check of getting back into the Championship so that they can start playing better football and learning how to play again, because he was sick of them bringing in managers that weren't playing particularly exciting style football and they were getting battered every week. So he's actually happy that they're back to where they, to start again, and it's a thrill again getting back up into the Premier League, isn't it? So.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I can see.
So
that.
there is two sides of the argument, and both of them are valid. Both of them are valid.
Oh, you look at the product Wolves have done, where they've come. They were a yo-yo team. They went down, came back up, went down, and then this system they've had in place for the past few years, they've come up and they've looked a quality side. They've recruited well. They've got good people behind the scenes. A great coach, and. I think, would their fans this season, rather, when they won the Championship by a record point, would they rather have that season again or a mid-table Premier League season? I'm sure they'd still rather have.
When you're talking mid-table, Dom, that's all well and good, but I'm talking like a bottom three team every season perennially, because we had a spell ourselves when we were dogs of war, and we were a 15th to 17th place team every season, and do you know what? I got sick of it. Although I didn't want to turn my back on it, I got absolutely sick of it, and I'm so glad that when Moyes came in, he turned it around and pulled us back up there. Because I was still despaired.
And I do completely get. Where you're coming from, but would you rather have that if maybe just trying to stay in the top, in the Premier League, or would you rather go to Goodison and watch us battle Luton 5-0, or would you rather us come or Liverpool win?
No, I know what you're saying, Dom. I know, totally know what you're saying, mate. And I think with us it's a bit different because we have a little bit more pride. I'm not being disrespectful to people like Stoke City and Norwich and all that, but we have
we're a different level of club,
we have a history where we've stayed in the top flight since the 30s. Or was it the 30s? The last time, 1932, I think it was.
Did we get relegated in the 70s? I think it was the early 70s. We missed. We went dropped out for a year, didn't we? And then
I don't think we did.
No,
I think we've played more top flight games. We've scored more top flight goals and we've had more top flight points than any other team.
Yeah,
to me that's a pride thing. So if it were turned on Everton and said, if we had a game of would you rather, and they said would you rather stay in the Championship and win all the games or stay in the Premier League, I'm afraid for Everton it's got to be to stay in the Premier League because of the history and because of how we've been perennial people since the Premier League's inception, etc.
Playing more top flight games than anyone else and little things like that.
Scoring more top flight goals as well. Would you believe?
Yeah, bit of pride.
Now we just need more trophies to go with it.
And we've got the fourth most league trophies.
Yeah.
So
yeah, we've got a lot.
You can't argue with our history at all. You can't.
No,
really.
we've got a lot of league titles, haven't we? Like I think you were Trish. I'm not sure if you heard Wayne, but I was just saying about like our level of league titles.
I think we've got 9, haven't we?
Yeah,
and 5 FA Cups, is it?
Yeah, we're a serious. Like you say, you look at what other teams have won in terms of league titles, apart from like the Elite Two. There's a good. We're not far. We're in that mix, aren't we?
We've won more than Man City, and we've won more than Chelsea.
Yeah, exactly.
If you look at top flight titles.
They've only been invented since 2004 and 2008, though, haven't they? So
yeah, that's true.
It's all money.
There's only Liverpool, Man U, and Arsenal that have won anything more than us, in terms of titles wise.
So. And they're not bad clubs, are they? When you think about what they've achieved.
Talk about Chelsea. What about that result for Bisto Tits? He'll have been rubbing himself with Bovril, won't he?
People say it's a big Sam.
He won't have been rubbing himself. He'd have been getting the rest of his team to do it. Come on, lads, give it a good rub.
Full of Bovril.
Yeah. I just can't see him without thinking of like after every win, like the Mike Bassett stuff where he's in there with bottles of vodka.
4-4-2 on back of a fag packet with our Benson and Edges up front.
Yeah, it's just unreal.
The one thing I can't get out of my head is somebody photoshopped when he first joined us the Everton shield, and it's the shape of his face is like it, isn't it? The shield.
I'll tell you what I have seen though on social media, from a few people. Obviously, especially lately, there seems to be this new charge of the Carlo Out Brigade, as I'm going to call it. We've started to see this filter. I've actually seen people saying that they should actually get Big Sam back in. He'd sort it out. I'm sorry, but what the are you on about? And that actually brings me on to another thing that I wanted to bring up with you. So they've actually given us a name, the Negatonians now, the negativity of some fans, literally. And I've got to be honest, as a lifelong Evertonian of coming up to 40 years very shortly, God, I'm old. But with that in mind, there's nothing pisses me off more than going on social media. And even when we've had a good result, there's always some Evertonians somewhere, or at least are the Evertonians, maybe the plastic fans, maybe the Copites in disguise, I'm not sure. But there's always somebody, they have to mourn about something. They're never happy. And this seems to have triggered. I get, obviously, that we've all got expectations. We all really want to do well. We're Everton fans at heart, and everybody's got a right to be pissed off when things don't go right. If we lose, like what we did in Palace, I'm a nightmare. My wife will just leave me alone because I'm literally such a moody bastard. It's literally like having time at month and PMT all in one go. I hate it when we lose, and I will have a good old moan. But it just seems that there's been this culture, certainly across social media, that we just moan at everything, whether there's any need for it. We've now got people already calling for Carlo's head. I'm sorry, but we're not doing that bad considering. I know we've had some shitty results as well, but had we seen out those games that we should have seen out? Had we have beaten those lower league teams that we should have beaten, that we had the bad sort of results against, we'd be second. We are still pushing. We had a perfect opportunity to go, and push on for that fourth spot on merit, on points, despite all of that. Yet they're still calling for his head. What is that all about?
We've always been known as the bitter bunch, haven't we, though? That's the thing, and that's a tag that we're never going to lose, really.
Especially if we're
never going to shed the bitter tag.
Especially if fans carry on like they are doing at the moment. I mean, I think you said it earlier, Wayne. A lot of fans need to realise we are nowhere near as good as they think that we are. Not yet. Mm-hmm. Carlo realistically has only brought in 4 signings of his own. We've got a lot of stuff to clear out, and I totally agree. He's taking it the steady route. We can't just bring in a whole new team and expect them to hit the ground running.
That's the way you've got to do it. You've got to slowly infiltrate the club. As in, infiltrate the club's ethos. Get to know who cooks the chips for the lads or the pasta or whatever they eat. Get to know who cleans the corridor and the offices and stuff like that. I'm talking about not just knowing your players, but people like Alex Ferguson were on first name terms with every member of staff at Old Trafford. And that's because he was given the chance to infiltrate his belief and his philosophy throughout the club.
You can't.
Yeah, let's not forget. He nearly got the bloody sack before he actually turned it around. Very close.
He was a couple of games away from being sacked. Yeah,
Howard Kendall as well. Exactly the same situation. Yeah. I just think we're too impatient.
You can't change the culture of a side overnight. We have been, we've had an inferiority complex with the bigger clubs for a good few years now, and this season we've actually gone, to these bigger clubs and we've beaten them. And, it's showing that it's changing, but it's going to be a slow process. Like, I'm guilty of, like the other night, I were kicking and screaming because I was like, we've thrown away a chance of pushing for a top 4 spot tonight. And I was one of them. I were, yeah,
me as
we
well.
all
I was the
me as
same.
well.
I was the same when we lost to Fulham, and I was the same when we lost to Newcastle. I were really pissed off with that, and I were really pissed off that we lost to Leeds, who were the greatest team in Europe. Remember, don't forget that.
The world, they can single-handedly win the World Cup, can Leeds.
But yeah, and like I said, it's amazing that we've pulled off some big results this year, and you think of what Carlo's done. Like, I remember the Wolves game, and we were that short on players. And bearing in mind that I think we had 5 first teamers missing that night, but we were so short on quality. We went to Wolves and won a game playing with 2 false nines. We had Sigurdsson, and Rodriguez playing like a false 9 role, just roaming around, and that's unbelievable management. Carlo's management for me is seen as win games this year.
We wouldn't under other managers, we wouldn't under other managers.
And
you look at the Palace game as well, though. That is in no way down to Carlo. It's not he wasn't the one kicking those balls and missing those chances. He wasn't the one. That's down to the players on the pitch who have to be held accountable for it. It's no point shouting at the manager. He gave them the instructions. At one point, we were 1-0 up and we were relatively cruising. It should have been about 7. It's not his fault, is it?
It's like people were crying the other day when Jose Mourinho, he got asked a question last week. He said, how come at other clubs you're able to hold on to leads and whatnot? And he said, well, it's same management, same manager, different players. And I'm sure Carlo has that frustration because he's a winner. He's a winner. He's won everything as a player, as a manager, and he'll want to take this club to the next level. But I think he's very good, and I think he's very realistic and balanced in the way he speaks, that he's not giving the fans any false hope. I think we're building, because we're all stuck inside with it being, Everton's all we've had through this lockdown and watching the game. So I think everything's been magnified and, having this push for Europe. I think they're
coming under closer scrutiny. That's what it is, Dom. I think.
Of course, yeah.
Because you haven't got a right lot else going on in your daily lives, are you? Because of the lockdown. So therefore, we can't go to the park and we can now. I mean, it's relaxing, but I mean, for the last 12 months, we haven't been able to go down the pub and have a whinge with your mates.
No, you can't.
So now you're putting everything under closer scrutiny now, aren't you? And you're looking at like you say, it magnifies everything that's going on the pitch. Is magnified.
And I think social media now, like the football, like the Everton groups I read through, I think it purely is just people getting the frustration out there because, it's hard, isn't it? If you're stuck in, I ain't going to vent, I ain't got no one to vent me anger to apart from you guys. So you catch the brunt of it from me in his group and that. But, when you're at the game with your mates, you get it out the way it's done. And social media is the only tool where people can kind of come together at the moment and just get all the frustrations out.
And the only analysis we get as well is from obviously the commentators on TV when we're watching the game, most of them which seem to be fucking cop-ites, to be honest. Why do we always get a cop-ite commenting or being a pundit? I mean, did you see it on Monday night before the game? I sort of like switched on, half an hour before and thought, I'll watch the build-up. Carragher, all he's doing is talking about fucking Oxlade-Chamberlain. I'm sorry, but I tuned in to watch Everton versus Crystal Palace. Shut up, Jamie. Spitty Jamie. Bugger off. And
spit on somebody.
Get on with game. Get on with game. That's what we want. That's what we wanted to hear.
And as soon as the game were finished, all they wanted to talk about were Trent Alexander-Arnold and what amazing how he's so underrated as a defender. And then he'll watch that
fucking brilliant last night, didn't he?
Yeah, when like I said, when Real Madrid tore him a new one, I hope he's got another comeback with that. That's what I mean. It's like.
There is this small club mentality amongst the media, isn't there? We Everton, poor little Everton. That's what they're always saying out there. And, we don't end up in the same sentence as Champions League or the Europa League very often, do we?
They've not even been talking about Everton as a possible to get top 4, even though we had 2 games in hand. I know we blew it and everything as it stands, but we still get there. But we seem to slip under the radar, and a lot of fans get really frustrated with that. I'm not so sure it's a bad thing.
I think it's a good
thing. It's a bad thing.
Yeah, I think going under the radars are brilliant for us. I think the less pressure we put on ourselves as a club, the better. But I got annoyed the other week because Sherwood were on. He was manager of Tottenham for a bit. I'm sure it's Sherwood, and he were doing Soccer Saturday a couple of weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, do you think Everton are in with a shout?" And he just basically just like laughed it off, and I was frustrated at that because I think, why is he not giving us credit? But then we go and draw 1-1 at home with Palace when we
And
have
then
a
you
chance.
think it's sort of justified a little bit, then,
Yeah,
don't you? Think,
and then
well,
and
yeah,
I
you
can,
were right.
and then so then I see that kind of result, and I think, well, we haven't proven him wrong as it stands. Him laughing off that because they probably think, neutrals who aren't Everton fans like us, they probably just see us as like, well, they're going to throw it away at some point. They're going to slip up. Like everyone at the moment, they're going West Ham. They're going to slip up at some point. And it's that kind of mentality. Leicester, when they won the league, they're going to slip up. And you've got to, we're the only ones who can prove all these people wrong, but we keep proving them right by messing up in the key moments. We haven't got it right, and we've proved all these people.
It's like so
right.
close, isn't it? But so far, it's within touching distance
carrot,
now.
Yeah, the carrot keeps getting dangled, and instead of grabbing hold of it, we just throw it away, don't we? But I said it's still time.
Well, it goes back to things that I've said in earlier episodes. I mean, I think as we said it, we discussed this in episode 1 about Everton's mentality about the not taking the League Cup seriously. A cup we've never won in our history. We've always been the bridesmaid, but never the bride with, and we never ever take it seriously. And it goes back to similar mentalities, doesn't it? Of bottling and not taking things too seriously and stuff. It pisses me off. It really does.
I mean, obviously, it must be, obviously people with families, surrounded by. I'd love to know sort of what goes on in their living rooms and stuff like that. When they're discussing and how frustrated they are. Obviously, we're from Yorkshire, so that actually leads me on. I wonder what they're actually like, in various other parts of the world. I wonder what they're sort of, thinking with all this. I mean, I spent a lot of time with the New York Evertonians when I've been over there, which I absolutely love. And
they're a staunch brunt.
Oh, they are. They say it like it is, just like we do. They're exactly the same. But in some ways, they're actually more dedicated than we are because the matches, for the times that they're there, they'll take a day off work to actually go and watch it. What is essentially 7 o'clock in the morning for them, or like 4 a.m. in the morning and stuff like that. And they just flock in. It's brilliant. But I wanted to discuss a couple of other Evertonians. Sort of, we know that they're widespread. I don't think I've ever been on holiday or anything anywhere in the world and not come across other Evertonians. And one gentleman which is on social media, which I actually thought is brilliant, even in the far reaches of the world that we don't often think about too much. So this one, a little bit of a segment about Evertonians around the world, and this one particularly about a little football team called Everton Uganda.
Oh, yeah.
Which is absolutely fantastic. And I've got a couple of pictures to pop up here. One gentleman, literally Everton fan in Uganda, is actually helping out the kids over there with his passion for Everton by coaching them, which isn't just about coaching the kids. It's about giving them a future. It's about giving them an education, giving them safety and things like that. And I actually
giving them something to aim for in life. I think
absolutely, which is amazing. And Everton is helping to do that. And I've got some pictures up here of the lads, which he kindly sort of shared with me with the young boys, which I will just pop up here. There's a few pictures to scroll through, and I just think this is absolutely brilliant. So as you can see, the boys quality, there. Yeah.
Playing in legends blue. In royal blue as well, eh?
That's it. I wonder if any of those will be, like the next big thing in the next sort of generations if they carry on. Let's hope so. But yeah, these little lads touched by Everton even so many miles away, and I think that's brilliant. And the club are great with them as well. Obviously they're called Everton Uganda, and right now they are just starting sort of their season over there with tournaments and things like that, and they are actually trying to raise some money to actually keep that going. Obviously transportation costs and equipment and things like that, which they do sort of need over there. And what I will do afterwards, I will stick a link to their sort of GoFundMe sort of page thing in there to actually do that. If anybody does want to donate, I'm sure they will be absolutely amazed and made up with that. So I'll stick a link in there if anybody wants to, because I don't think the sort of the links actually work over there in Uganda, so it has to be done sort of elsewhere. But yeah, look at those little lads just it's a world away.
And they're playing with
all,
nothing. They're playing with absolutely
Yeah.
nothing there, aren't they? You know, but a bit of passion inside them and things. You know, that's amazing to see. Is that?
it is.
That's
It's
what
you know.
sport's about, isn't it? That's what.
Yeah.
It is,
That's
yeah.
what Everton's about, isn't it? You know, touching other people and just the way that it does. I mean, look at that. It's just a whole world away, isn't it, from what we're used to.
Tris, I have an idea. Is there any way that between the three of us we could pen an open letter to Everton Football Club and show them these?
Yeah, I'm absolutely sure. Sure, we can.
To see if they could offer some support, because don't forget Stephen Pienaar is an African ambassador for Everton, so Stephen Pienaar
absolutely
could get involved with this and see if he can raise some funds from the.
Yep, I know
Everton
they
community.
have. I know they have been in touch with Everton before, and they do give them some support. But I know that they are so in desperate need of just little things that we take for granted, like football nets and footballs and stuff like that. So hopefully, these type of projects abroad and stuff are really, really important for grassroots and world football as well.
But
and it's amazing that it's an Everton fan doing this.
I think football clubs and a lot of sports teams around the world now are amazing at what they're providing to deprived areas. You see so many different football clubs, different sports teams all around the world now. They're really, there's some of the foundations they have even in our communities, and then communities abroad. They really are doing amazing things. So I think that's one. I know we always have banter with other football clubs and whatnot, but I think football now, they really are doing some amazing things worldwide. All teams, there's so many teams doing great things.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And when I actually saw that, I was just so proud of the sort of like the Everton community worldwide, that an Everton fan from Uganda, as far away from Merseyside. I mean, we talk about us being from Yorkshire, and people round here think it's weird that we don't support Leeds or Sheffield United or Bradford or something like that. We're all lifelong Evertonians, even though some of us have got families which support other teams. But what exactly is it that steers somebody a million miles away from Merseyside to support Everton?
The philosophy, I think the philosophy sells quite to a lot of people. And just
I think it doesn't.
We're just like a family, aren't we? We're like
doesn't matter where in the world where in the world you are. If you are chosen, you are chosen.
And I think it's like it's either past players as well. Like you see, there'll be Australian fans who are Everton fans. Australian community will get behind Tim Cahill, and obviously that's probably led to us having a few Aussie fans. Maybe I can imagine a lot of the past players have kind of attracted. Look at the numbers going up on social media from Colombia and stuff. And
the games in Colombia, the Everton games are the most watched games in Colombia every week, which is brilliant. I mean, you look at I think it was sort of like Korea and stuff like that with Lee T and those. It just brought China. Yeah, it was, wasn't it? A lot of fans from that tuning in to watch. But I think what this guy's doing in Uganda, helping those kids out, giving them a better future, is just it's Everton all over. And that's brilliant.
Take a bow, my hat comes off to you, mate. And I wish if there's something we could do, like by way of sending a letter to Everton, just to highlight his thing. And I know he's probably said that the club's been involved in the past, but just a couple of £100 just to get them some nets and some new balls or something, maybe, and a universal strip. Maybe donate a lot of Everton strips with the sponsor on, because what they're doing is they're also selling the brand across out there of Everton,
absolutely,
with the proper badge and the proper sponsor with Kazoo, so Kazoo can play a part in it as well. Like Sports Pizza did. Sports Pizza did quite a lot for Africa, didn't they? They did all these tournaments and raised money for them, for Kenya and places like that.
Yeah,
so maybe
we can have a word, and I'll certainly within sort of the social media, within the chat channels and stuff, I will share the link to their fundraising details as well. So if any Blues do want to help and jump on board in that one, or even just give them a little bit of support, please do, because the Blue family has to stick together.
We could do one. We could send them a letter with the Toffees badge at the top and explain who we are, etc. And then explain that we've, there's a certain cause that we've taken to our hearts a little bit, as with a lot of worldwide Everton things. And what we think they're doing is amazing. But could they give them a little bit of support?
Yep. I mean, it's just a couple of nets, some support, some help with a little bit of finances to help them get to the games, the tournaments. Obviously, their transportation's got to be sorted. The coaching badges for the coaches have got to be sorted as well. They've got to have get them accredited and everything else. And
they're
called Everton Uganda. What better team name than that?
But like you say, Tris, you never know who they could be harbouring amongst their ranks. It could be your future Seamus Coleman or your future Nev Southall, or it could be your future Tony Cotty or something, hiding amongst those ranks who are never going to get to see the light of the day unless they get into, unless they get the support they need to up their levels. You never know. Why, Everton should do something like this where they have like a scheme where they bring some Ugandan players over during the summer break or something and do a little workshop with them or something.
I think most clubs, to be fair, most clubs now, I think they do have so many foundations worldwide now, don't they? I think they do have a lot of foundations all over. You see, I see a lot what Arsenal do around the world and things with some of their football academies and how much they do abroad. And I think now there is so many teams giving back, but any extra awareness is just so important, isn't it, for these causes? Because you wouldn't, like I say, you wouldn't want to see amazing causes like this just go under the radar when they deserve so much publicity and some, just some any kind of help.
Do you know the most touching thing I ever got out of this, Dom, was the guy who runs the Uganda football team over there, the Uganda Everton. He said to me and Tris, I'm sure he said to me and you, mate, he actually asked us if it were all right if he could use the Everton name. And I just thought, oh, God, bless him. That touched me so much that he was saying to us, you don't mind us using the Everton name, even though it doesn't belong to us, obviously. But he was asking permission, could we honour Everton by naming one of his clubs Everton? How many other teams have done it around the world? Argentina had a team called Everton. Chile have got a team called Everton. There's a few of them.
We also had a basketball team called Everton, didn't we, as well?
Everton Tigers, yeah.
Yeah. Let's see if we can get in touch with the club and see what they can do. And similarly, if anybody has got any other sort of, stories about other Evertonians around the world, whether it is, amazing projects like that or just, amazing stories about, you've met somebody which you've struck up a relationship with. We just want to hear about it and want to celebrate Evertonians around the globe and, what Everton is, it brings a lot of people together. It's the people's club. That's what we call ourselves, and rightly so. And that doesn't mean just people from Merseyside or from the UK. It means worldwide as well. I know we've got sort of supporters clubs in a lot of different places. Obviously, there's the supporters clubs over in Ireland as well, which up until recently couldn't get access to any kits and stuff like that. We've got the ones in New York, in Chicago, loads of different places. I mean, there's even one in Barnsley and all, which is great. Barnsley. Just that word from me. We want to hear about it. So do jump on those causes. Let us know about it. So I guess we've just got the one thing to sort of discuss looking forward.
Can I just add a subject into there quickly?
Of course you can, mate. Yeah, squeeze it in.
We were talking about youth players, and I've been thinking about this guy for a long time now. Thinking the last time I got this excited about a player was when a certain Mr. Wayne Rooney was in the ranks, and I think I've been watching this guy play now, and he seems to be the real deal. What have you guys heard about a left back called Thierry Small, who plays in our team?
Strangers should say that.
How exciting is he to see? He
is, yeah. There's been a few media stories this week about him, hasn't there? In the fact that there's rumours in the media that he's had a contract on the table from Everton for about a year, and he's refusing to actually take that up at the moment, wanting sort of more money and things like that. We don't know how true that is.
He's got Digne to compete with Annie and Godfrey, so too.
And also Nkunku as well.
Nkunku
as well.
But this guy is special. I'll tell you, lads.
He is. I really hope.
Some of his
I hope if we need to up his contract offer a little bit just to keep him at the club, because apparently he's been talking to Bayern, Man United, Arsenal, and according to some Leeds fans, he's really keen to play at Leeds as well, because they're such an amazing club. But yeah, we need to start keeping hold of those amazing prospects.
I will say, he honestly looks the real deal. He honestly doesn't look like somebody who's going to be a flash in a pan. Yeah. He actually looks mature for his years. And
he does, absolutely.
The last person I saw like that was Wayne Rooney. The last person I saw take on men when he was a boy still. I mean, how old's Thierry now? I think he's 16, so I think he's in the under 18s at the minute, but they're on about putting him straight into the first team.
He's made one appearance for us, hasn't he? In the first team, which was the cup game.
Right.
Well, I've seen reports saying that he wants to leave because he wants to be closer to getting regular first team football and things. But surely
It's not going to get that at the likes of Man United and Arsenal,
exactly.
is he? You know,
so
it's
going to a Bayern or a Man United, you're not going to get in, are you? But
then my greatest fear is that he's going to go somewhere else, become a stepping stone, pretty much like Haaland's doing at the minute. He used the Swiss club as a stepping stone, didn't he? Got to Dortmund. Now he's not happy with Dortmund, and now because Dortmund aren't living up to his expectations, it seems that the game's going to Haaland's head. I think he's a talented bloke, Haaland, but it's gone to his head.
I think he's just a free.
He stormed off. He threw his toys out of the pram the other day when Dortmund weren't playing to his expectations, and he'd scored two goals in that match when he threw his wobbler.
Well, I'll tell you what, a bit of a lack of respect when he's got his football team, who he's contracted to give his best for. They've got a massive game midweek against Man City, arguably probably the best club side in the world at the moment.
Totally.
So they've got a massive game to prepare for, and his dad's going round to Barcelona pimping him out. And for me, that is a massive lack of respect. Like, I understand that as a sportsman, your shelf life is short, and you've got to be selfish. But there is a right and wrong way of doing things, and for me, that is a massive lack of respect. Like, there's no need for his dad to be going round and his agent going round pimping him out the week of a massive. But Barcelona
has he got the same agent as Lukaku by any chance?
It's pretty much like how Messi. Do you remember how Messi's dad were doing with Barcelona, trying to rock the boat at Barcelona to give him more money and stuff? That's what Messi's dad got involved as well. I don't agree with the fact the parents of footballers getting involved, no matter if they were famous footballers in the past. I don't agree.
When you say that, all I remember is when we signed Moise Keane and his mum were there with a shirt like, "We'll look after him." That didn't work out very well, did it?
Yeah. Yeah, well, mind you, he looked happy when he was throwing the mouse parties last year, didn't he?
I honestly don't think we'll see him back in an Everton shirt.
I don't think we will.
And, I'm not disappointed by it. His attitude wasn't right. He wasn't quite fit enough. Talented lad, but if we can make his money back on it, get rid, move on. Speaking about transfers as well, there's been a lot of focus on this dude over the past 2 or 3 weeks. This Koulibaly dude. Have you heard much about it? It seems to have gone quiet over the past couple of days, but it seems to be now that Liverpool are in for him. And apparently yesterday on social media, it was a done deal. Just wondering if anybody's heard anything about it. It looks a machine, to be honest.
They were talking about him on TalkSport, and it's somebody. He is a player who Ancelotti knows really well as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he was quite keen on coming to the Premier League as well. So hopefully, I think he'd be a great addition. Personally, I really do.
But the problem is his valuation. They value him at, I think it's like 89 million. They're valuing him at, and that's enough. It's a lot of money. Banks, isn't it? That's a lot of money. Is that to lay out for a player?
We've also got the other link as well. Zaha again after the Palace game.
I'd take that. I'd take that for me because I think, like I said, I know you can say I think he's a bit like Rodriguez is for us, where he's literally a very good player. And he sometimes, you can see his frustration surrounded at Palace, where he's making runs and the players around him just aren't on his level. And I think he could be a good addition to us, but not for 70 odd million. I think. Well, I don't think
same as Koulibaly. He's 89 million. He's almost 30. So put that into perspective. He hasn't got much of a future in the game, has he?
Well, he's got no. I think if you're getting a good player at 30, they're probably physically, in at the prime, but they've got no sell-on value. So you're never going to make any money back.
It's not Dom. It's not also a case of that. It's a case of he's got 2 years, 3 years at best left in him, hasn't he? Unless he's Ronaldo and he's a machine and he'll keep going till he's 40.
He's even been linked in the media as well as Ronaldo over the past couple of days. I think it's total rubbish, obviously, but I'll tell you, if it were, I'd still have him.
Listen. As good as I think Rodriguez is, and I do rate him as a player, and yes, we know he's injury prone and stuff like that. I think initially he was brought in to be Everton's poster boy. That's what I thought, just to bring the other players in to show that we can get Rodriguez. Because Rodriguez, 4 or 5 years ago, were rated at 100 million, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Brand's got him on a free. What a bit of business!
That were a bit of business on half.
This is where Koulibaly comes and he's free. And you're like,
Mind you,
good
I
business,
hope.
good business.
I'd have him for free, but I wouldn't pay 89 million for him. I'm afraid.
No, I think that's
I
a
think-
lot of money.
Yeah,
So
Brando's is a
send
few
Moise Keane over
things,
to send Moise Keane that way, and let's have.
Well,
Let's
he
have
is
him in for a
Italian.
bit of
He is
money.
Italian, and you know he can adapt back to the culture, can't he? You know, Moise Keane. You know, and I wish him all the best. You know, I don't have any ill feelings towards Keane. It's just not worked for us.
It's
Has
just
it?
not. It
happens.
just didn't work with us, did it? He just wasn't quite right. He just wasn't up to the Premiership at the time. And I dare say, you know, in a few seasons' time, he will come good. But we can't wait that long with somebody that doesn't realistically want to play with us and just gets the arse on and the hump on and can't be bothered. He wasn't fit enough.
And whose father goes to the press and speaks bad about Everton in the press? Don't forget that. You know, he came with his mum and everything, but his dad speaks to the Italian press all the time, and they badmouth Everton quite a lot.
Yeah, I can't stand that, and that's another reason why when that's happening. And not only that,
it happened with Lukaku as well, didn't it? Didn't his dad do the same?
Yeah, but also obviously then parties, the disobedience, and the constant lateness as well. Literally within the first 2 weeks, he was late twice for training and got fined by the club for doing it, which happened with the Italy squad as well. So it's just not the right kind of player for Everton, and I think everybody would agree with that. Talented lad, and I'm sure he's going to be, you know, brilliant, banging him in for you know, PSG and in a pub league, but. You know, we'll see what happens with that one. I'm sure there's lots of transfer stuff to come. So, if we just move very briefly on to upcoming games, then. So, next fixture we've had a week off. Essentially, Monday, April 12th, 8:15 kickoff away at Brighton. So I personally think I'm feeling a little bit more confident about this. One, it's away, and we've had a little bit of a week off and enough time for Carlo to give him a bit of a good drilling. It's a nighttime game as well, so I'm feeling quite confident in this one.
Yeah, well, I think we have to, like you said, looking at the rest of our fixtures, there's no one on that list that intimidates. You look at Tottenham, I think Tottenham are beatable, Arsenal are beatable.
Yeah, we've beaten them twice already this season, haven't we? League and Cup.
It's just the West Broms, the Sheffield Uniteds that we're shit scared of, and the Fulhams and the Newcastles.
Yeah,
the Accrington Stanley.
Yeah,
that's it. That's the amazing thing. It's crazy. So, you know, going to Brighton, I must admit, I think Brighton are doing, you know, they're fighting, you know, they've got a lot to play for themselves. So they haven't shut up shop yet. They've got a lot to play for. I think they're playing a lot better now. And they had a couple of wins before the international break, and the push United had the other night. They give them a good game. So I don't think it's going to be easy, but
no, it's not going to be easy. It never is against Brighton. You know, they're a well-drilled team.
They've got. I'll tell you what, that Dunk is some player. He's a top-class centre half.
Yeah,
very good player.
Yeah, he is very much so.
But yeah, they have got some good players. But I do expect us to get the job done, and we should. You know, we should.
It's another must win in it. If we want to kick on and we want to push for those European places, we've got to win. No throwing it away when we're 1-0 up or any of that crap. We need to start taking these chances and stop wasting them. Hopefully, Carlo's had Big Dunk sort of like drilling him a little bit, and every time they miss the goal, a bit of a punch to kidney or whatever, and say, do it again. Slap
just pointing at us attackers, saying, where the keeper stood there, just don't kick it straight at him, put it either side. Just put it either side of the keeper.
Or do what we used to do as kids, put it to right of him and run round the left. You know? I used to do that all the time as a kid, and it were easy. And I didn't get paid 100,000 quid a week to do that.
No, wasted potential, mate. Wasted.
I know, damn.
And you just know you'd pull on an Everton shirt and go and do it for free.
Yeah, absolutely, we would.
We'd even pay them to do it.
Yeah, we would. Absolutely would.
But yeah, I'm
Score
feeling...
prediction.
Score prediction. I'm going to go first on this one. I'm going to go with a 2-0 Everton win.
That's fair enough.
I reckon it'll be tight. I reckon 1-0. I don't care who scores. I don't care how we score. I just need us to win this. So
don't care how we win. Just win.
Yeah, just win. Just get the job done.
I'm the same, Dom. 1-0. It's going to be scrappy as hell. I think it's just going to be. It's going to be scrappy. They're going to be a difficult team to break down because they're going to be set up to defend and try and limit the amount of goals they concede and try and nick one on the break. And as long as we hold strong, get a goal, and then You know, don't let them see too much of the ball like they did with with Crystal Palace. Don't sit back and let them boss the play. We just need to dominate the possession and go and nick a goal if we can.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Agreed.
there was one thing we haven't mentioned so far as well, of course, the Shabamin getting a run out against Palace as well. He looked like he was quite fit when he came on. He looks like he was up to speed. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. That is assuming trends don't follow and he doesn't get injured on Monday, as that's what happened last time, wasn't it? One game and a little bit of a game. And so hopefully he's, we need these players to start coming back. As well. Just on that transfer thing as well, I did see, I don't know how true it is, and to be fair, it was on Sky Sports in the transfer rumours, but it seemed that the main source was from that shithouse of a Rag the Sun, which we swear I can't stand them bastards. So take it with a pinch of salt, but apparently Yerry Mina is after looking at getting out. And possibly off to Serie A in the summer.
That's not just the Sun, Chris. The Guardian's
is it not?
on that one as well. So
Yeah, I
we
think
don't have to mention them arseholes, but the Guardian's reported on it as well.
It's weird because he looks like he's really happy with us as well. And obviously Rodriguez coming was a lot down to Yerry Mina, and I really like him. I think he's got when he has a damn good game.
I think he's a good player.
Is. Like I said, I don't know how true it is. It kind of feels a little bit like it's that time of the year and it's slow news days. Let's make up some transfer stuff. I'll be gutted if he goes. I'm not going to lie.
Or maybe his dad's been speaking to press like the Cancos and the Keens.
The thing is, it's like Wild West season, isn't it now? Because especially with like big international tournaments coming up, obviously you see how many of these players who are going to be playing in the Euros are going to be getting pimped out by their agents as well. Everyone's going to... that's how it works, isn't it? Every single...
It's like a merry-go-round, Dom. It's like a merry-go-round. And it's this time of year to join that merry-go-round. And what's happening is you've got a load of sports reporters sat at the desks doing nothing. And the boss comes in and goes, right, lads, let's think up some rumours. Come on. Shall we say Ronaldo to Everton and Rodriguez to Enfield Town? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That's what it's like.
Yeah, Homer Simpson is signing for Everton.
Yeah. Peter Griffin for PSG.
Quagmire for the shite. Giggity. He's the new Liverpool manager.
Well, he's a pilot and he can pick them all up from Norway, can't he? Direct from Norway now. But no, I think... I'd like to see us as well. I don't know about you guys, but I wouldn't mind us getting his. We always seem to leave his transfer business really uncomfortably late on. I'd much rather us have a busy transfer window, but get it done early. Get him in.
Although
the last time we did that, it weren't great, were it? The last time we did that, and we spanked like God knows how many hundreds of million on crap, basically, because we got it done early.
But we did get it done relatively early last transfer window with Ancelotti, didn't we? Not the January.
Well, it was rumour. The problem is, he was that uncomfortable. There were like 6 weeks of rumours, and you were like, "Come on."
And I think it's with Everton as well and brands. We like to keep all of those sort of transfer business and discussions under a veil of secrecy as well, don't we? We're not constantly shouting it from the rooftop, and that's how he gets them really, really good deals in, by keeping things as quiet as possible.
Controversially, I don't rate brands. I genuinely, I think I don't rate brands at all. Like, I just think that, like, the club in itself and people making these decisions, who in the right mind thinks Iwobi is worth 30 odd million? Who makes these? Was it brands? Was it someone else? Who's making these decisions? Sigurdsson, 50 million. It's the obscene. Like, it's just, we've spent and wasted.
I know what you're saying.
Was Sigurdsson was a Walsh? Was he a Walsh?
Yeah, he was
signing.
Yeah. But I mean the club as well. Whoever's making these decisions, the club, or is it? And then I think Brands had some involvement in the Iwobi one, which is just
it's just silly amount of money for what we've got. A guy that can't even cross a ball beyond first man, but we've been there and discussed that already. But
then you look at
maybe he just got really giddy
like that though. You look at like Godfrey and other people, and they're all Brands deals, because we were going to get Godfrey before Ancelotti joined, and Ancelotti actually openly admitted, I didn't even know who Ben Godfrey was until he arrived at the club. So, He basically
maybe they just got really,
word.
really giddy because they weren't having to like scour down back at sofa to try and find that Arteta money and putting coppers into a pot, and they got a little bit of money and they were like, oh, who can we buy? Who's available? Arsenal are trying to get rid of Iwobi. I know, we'll make a statement and spend 37 million on him and give him some add-ons. I hope he can cross the ball.
They must have laughed when they must have thought that were like a prank call or something. Because, like I said, if you're not good enough,
first Walcott and then Iwobi, neither of them can cross past first man.
Yeah, exactly. And they must have just been laughing at us. They'll have someone else. Oh, they're going to probably this summer sell us Xhaka for like 150 million or something like that.
Aaron Ramsey
or what's his name? Patrick Vieira. he's still got some legs in his lads. He's only 50, but you can give us 70 million. You can have him.
I don't know, but I heard a transfer rumor that apparently Doris the tea lady is in for about 5 million. Apparently, it might end up being on a free if Brands has got out to do with it. But they might be sending Iwobi other way. We'll end up paying somebody to take him off our hands.
Yeah, we're gonna have to.
Well, either that or we'll take a massive hit. We're going to take a massive hit either way.
Like the Blassie, that were another one, wasn't it? But obviously that would be for the Brands thing. But it's still the same concept, isn't it? Just wasting money.
Yeah, Sandro, Clarkson.
On paper though, Balassi. To be fair to Balassi, on paper he was a good. He seemed like a good signing. And do you know what? He had a couple of good games, got injured, and he was never the same after that, was he? Pretty much the same as the Yak. The Yak was on fire, got injured. Do you remember he had an anterior cruciate ligament injury to his knee?
Yes,
and he went out for a season. Yeah, exactly. And he went out for 14 months were Yakubu, and he came back and he was never the same.
Yeah, I do like Balassi. He's sort of whole attitude, on social media. He speaks straight talking. He wants to fight for places and stuff like that. And in fairness, I've seen some of the games, obviously, when he's been out on loan recently this season, and he's actually putting some damn good shifts in, some good games in. It's just one of those. It just never quite worked out with him at Everton, and we've seen that with so many players, haven't we? The club's never always going to automatically be a good fit, and I think that's one of the reasons with this whole, not just buying in a team of 11 players like what a lot of Evertonians want to happen. They want Mashiri to pop his checkbook down and say, like, just go and buy 11 new players and hope that it all works out and it all gels straight away. It doesn't work that way.
It has to be more measured than that. It has to be more. You have to, if they don't fit the right attributes to come to the club, then we're not going to just buy for the hell of it. And I love that. I love the fact that the purse streams have been held by that. But talking of players with really, really good attitudes, I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but Oumar Niasse now plays for Huddersfield Town. And I know they got battered the other day, but I'm chuffed for him that he's found someone that wants him, because he has the right.
In Yorkshire,
yeah.
He's got a locker in Yorkshire.
He has, and he's got a locker, and he's got his own squad number in this one, and I think everybody wants him around. So, fair play to him, and I wish him all the best.
Yeah, what a model professional that guy was. I know it didn't work out for him, but I'll tell you, some of those goals he scored for us in that season
important
were
goals,
crucial, and it massively. I know he was a bit ungainly and probably never should have been bought for as much as he did. Another Bobby Brown shoes. I was there when they unveiled him. This bloke with a wrist strap on and thinking he can't play because he's hurt his wrist, and I'm thinking he's a footballer. What's all that about? He's got a bandage on. Strap it up.
He's not playing in goal, is he? You know what I mean?
It was that whole protection of footballers thing again. You never saw that in Dogs of War days, did you? Strap it up and jog on.
That's it. Take a couple of ibuprofen. You're all right.
Don't even have that.
In fact, do you know what? If you look at the interviews with Dunk played injured lots of times. They just to give him injections, didn't they? And I've seen, I think Toffee TV, I think he did an interview with him, and he was saying that every week I wanted to play, and they said you can't dunk, you're hurting yourself, are you not in any pain? Whereas, and the physios used to say to him, do you want another injection? Every week, injection.
Yeah, painkiller injections. That's
how which is not good either. It's not good. Damages bone and stuff.
It's not good because he ruptured his hernia and he didn't realise he'd done it, and they just give him an injection. He went and played again, and he played with a hernia, which is mad. It's madness, isn't it?
Hardest man in football.
The thing is, like I said, just the products nowadays out there. They've got to look after their own products. These players, so I think those days.
It's a lot of money as well. It is, you look at that said. I mean, you look at Gomez. His horrific injury was only last season.
He's done well to come back from
He's
that.
done brilliant. I know a lot of people are
worked.
saying he's not come back same or anything like, but he actually broke his ankle and he was back playing within a couple of months.
Yeah.
Jabamin has been out for a lot longer than that. It's going to take him a while.
Ligaments are worse than clean breaks, so aren't they? I'm no doctor, but I think most cases ligament injuries and tendon injuries take a lot longer than
I tore all my tendons.
Breaks.
I tore all my tendons, mate, and it's took me over 18 months till I can get my hand to do that.
It's a lot of wanking, mate, to damage that.
but I had 14 months of solid physio trying to get that grip action back on it.
Yeah.
So they are worse. When I went into hospital with it, the team in A&E said, You've done worse than breaking your wrist. If you broke your wrist, you know where you are. You could put it in a cast, it would repair. Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah.
Mad.
Andy's never shied out of a tackle since. To be fair to me, he still gets stuck in. I know he's a yard slower, who's Gomez, but to be fair, when he's on it,
he had a good game against Crystal Palace. I tell you what, I loved it. You see that through ball he played when he played DCL and the one when he played Richie and when he hit it over top. That were excellent.
Yeah, last few games he started to look a little bit more like his old self, which is going to take time in games.
I think it's Tris. I think it's a mentality thing because he started growing his hair again, which is like when we bought him. You remember? And then he shaved it all off, didn't he? Now he's getting back to his old self. So I think.
Speaking of haircuts, I can't wait to have mine done. I think you boys are probably the same.
Same here. But do you remember the time when Tim Howard, when he shaved his beard off and he wasn't as good? I think it's the same with him. Do you remember? Everybody was saying with Tim Howard when that time he shaved his beard off?
It happened with Lukaku, didn't it? When he got rid of dreadlocks, it turned up with shaved head, and it was just like, who's this? He's turned lazy. But there's a rumor apparently Man City are going to be popping a bid in for Lukaku. To move over there.
If he wants to warm their bench, that's fine, because that's all he'll probably do there.
Yeah,
probably. Can't say Man City.
Thing is, I think City look at the best. They don't even need a number 9, do they? They don't need a 9.
No, not at all.
City play that well.
And Aguero's going this season, isn't he? What a servant he's been to them.
Hopefully he'll stay in Premier League and maybe Marcel Brands can get in. I'd love him.
On a free. Get him on a free. Come on, get Aguero in on a free.
He'll only play like half a game every season, but chuffing hell, he'll bang 6 in at a time.
Yeah, and he'll sell an extra 6 million shirts and probably bring a couple more players in. So yeah, I'm all for that. Poster boys, I love poster boys.
Speaking of shirts, boys, they're on offer on the club website at the moment. I've just brought my lad, my 3-year-old.
All three of them, wasn't it?
Yeah, 15 quid a piece for full kits, awesome. Which is brilliant. And I just never can warrant spending, like 40 quid each on a kit that he's going to grow out of in, 4 or 5 months. So it's, his little face when he saw him when he came home from his nursery was like, oh, he likes him. So he starts his football training next week, actually.
Yeah, good on him.
It's been postponed due to COVID and everything else. So we're getting him.
I've got the 09. No, not the 09. I think it's the one before the FA Cup. So it's the 08. Is this? I think this one I've got here with the money. Where's the money? Can you see that?
I quite like how when you turn round, the name Arteta sort of vanishes just like the money did.
Yeah. But yeah. What have you got on, Dom? Have you got a training top or something?
I've just got one at retro. One's on tonight.
I love it.
Two types to put the heating on upstairs, so I've got to jump.
Are you warm enough, Tom?
I am now.
Sorry, Tris, because Tris is normally in the shed, isn't he?
I've got a jumper on underneath and a big heater on here, so yeah, it's in studio. It's not as cold tonight. It's all right. I think I've got 3 layers on, so I'm all right. And plus, it's only t-shirt weather in Yorkshire anyway.
Mind you, it's only. It's only football teams that are in minus points in Sheffield, so.
Yeah. Well, lads, it's been amazing to catch up.
It has. It's been a little while, international break and all that. So
it's felt weird, hasn't it? It's felt weird. I did say to you at the beginning of this that I've potentially got. If I can talk my mate Ricky into coming on, he's a Spurs fan and he's going to do the pre-Spurs talk as well.
Lovely. Well, Ricky, if you're watching, come and join us. Have a brew with us, mate. We'll chew over the cud and discuss Mourinho and all the rest of the stuff and take the piss out of him a little bit. But yeah, hit us up.
He'll take it and he'll give it back as well.
So absolutely. We fully expect
That's what we want.
That's what we want.
Yeah, we do want you to also as well to hit us up on the social media as well. Get your comments on there. Any suggestions? Any insults? Any jokes, any compliments? We like compliments. That's nice. If you want to send us any presents, we can do that as well.
Send us some beers. Trainers if anyone wants some size 10 running trainers, and sponsorships available.
Absolutely. But yeah, no, it's been fun, boys. It's good to be back after an international break, isn't it?
Yeah,
it has.
Yes. And we will be back next week as well, hopefully with better results to discuss, not as much negativity, and also hopefully a little bit of transfer news as well. And like I said, get Ricky on. We'll coax him with a brew.
Let's play that 5-question game with him. That's what I think.
Oh yeah.
That would be ace.
That would be good.
Amazing.
Yeah, that's good.
So
who fancies taking him on?
I'll ask. I've got a question. How many league titles have Tottenham won since the 50s? Can't think of any.
Tumbleweed.
See, you can't believe a club the size of Tottenham. We're on their trophies, so it's all right.
One of the biggest underachievers, aren't they? Biggest underachieving club.
Biggest bottlers as well, aren't they? They're almost as bad as us.
Almost. That's why I probably get on well. He's in good company next week, isn't he?
Support group.
Yeah. Well, lads,
Lovely.
Thank you.
Great stuff. Good to see you all, boys.
Good to see you.
Take care, and Blues, enjoy the rest of the week.
See you later.